Okay, so we're going to start policy meeting. It is now 6:01. All right, so the high school graduation requirements has come back to the committee because when it was brought to the board, the frustration from staff is that the standards for Idaho from the State Board of Education is 46 credits. However, there is the caveat that the district can require more credits.
Right.
However, if they don't achieve the more credits but they have the 46, they are allowed to graduate. My frustration was that our policy does not clearly state that. And then, you know, in the student handbook, it was pushing 46 credits, policies pushing 48 credits. We need them to be synchronized so that they say the same thing and they're clear for parents.
So we actually don't have the authority to require 48 credits.
Correct.
Okay.
We may establish requirements beyond the state's minimum.
Right.
But if a student meets their senior year and they've got 46 credits and all the correct course load that they need to have, they are entitled to a graduation diploma.
Okay.
We're not, I mean, by pushing the 48 credits, we're not giving them a different diploma. They're still getting the same diploma. But I believe, and I'm probably speaking incorrectly, one of the big issues was an extra credit came out in social studies that the teachers, the staff felt these kids need more in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe the other one was it? There was another credit somewhere else. I don't remember.
Was it the math? Because I know the math was a little.
Math is 6, and that's all we're requiring is the 6. But regardless of where it was that our staff was like, we really want them to have this.
Yep.
I think we do need to, because Lynn, what she did was she added this paragraph. I just copied and pasted this from the State Board of Education because I wanted to kind of mimic what they're saying. But she stated students will be given the opportunity to earn 48 credits. But are required to pass with 46 credits in order to graduate per the state graduation requirements. My struggle with that language is we're not giving them an opportunity. We're requiring them to take 48 credits.
Right.
And yet, if they fail, because that was one of the principal's concerns was that, you know, sometimes freshmen can't get it quite figured out and they fail a class or two, and then they can't make those credits up. But they're still graduating because they have 46 credits come their senior year. And we can't deny them a diploma.
Per state law.
Yeah.
Right.
So we can't make these statements like you have to have the 48 or you're out, because that's not true.
We can raise the rigor, but then accept the minimum.
Correct.
Yeah.
I like that.
So how to state we want kids to do this, but they don't actually have to.
Right.
That's the goal here.
Right. And the credits, we need to identify what qualifies the 46 and what qualifies the 48. Or we need to keep the credit requirements at 48 and state, you know, you may only have so many in math, because I know it was math. Where was that? That was an IDOT. Huh? Oh, here we are. All right. So senior project, government and civics proficiency, 6 credits in math, 6 credits of science, 9 language arts, 5 social studies. I have a pen to write this down.
2 humanities and 1 health and wellness.
So maybe I can just do that.
the state has 29 required credits, and the remaining 15 or 17 are up to the district.
Okay.
Establish what they are. Is that what I saw there? I think I remember that from last time we went over this.
So. So then that would mean 15 credits are extra credit or extracurricular? Because see here it says the core of instruction is 30 semester credits. Oh.
But for the state,
semester.
yeah, we already had
It
this.
shouldn't be semester credits. Because they're not taking 30 credits each semester.
Is semester credit a specific, is that just a specific definition of credit?
What do you mean?
So you could have a credit, which means one thing, and a semester credit, which means something slightly different. I don't know if it's defined in
I don't
the
know.
law. Do they use the word? No, they don't use the term semester credit. Is this?
High school credits. 29 credits include core subjects. We're making it 30 due to the one extra credit, I believe, in the
Was that financial literacy? Yeah.
History.
in social studies.
Mhm.
Oh, it's actually history because it
Okay.
was only 2 credits.
So financial literacy is required by the state. Oh, that's awesome. Provided it's useful
right.
and not terrible.
Okay, so I don't know what I'm doing here because it's getting out of hand. It's 29 credits. See, this is where I don't, it's 30.
We had this 329 discussion last time.
We did. Oopsies, that was wrong.
Control B.
It's
Or
shift
Control.
5. It's all
Oh, there you
shift
go.
5.
boom.
Don't get the control on there. It's 30 credits, but it's not, it's 29. Cause, okay.
Yeah, are you going
Expectation.
29 or are you going 30? Are you going
Well,
off of 4 to
okay,
6 or?
so- Don't be greedy. Standards for students requiring standards, and I set an expectation of 48 credits for graduation, period. Following expectations are identified below. Period.
Should we put in the special education caveat?
Well, this, yes,
Okay.
we have to keep that
Beautiful.
in there, yeah. So then if we take all that out, then our policy identifies with what we expect.
Mhm.
The student handbook will have to identify with what is
Mhm.
expected. And then maybe we should have, cause this is procedure. What did our policy say? Do we know? Is it there? No, okay. No, our P. I want the, not P, I want the policy. So I'm gonna go here. So this is the current one that was adopted. Okay. Okay, so this is fine. And I think we just maintain that we have the expectation of 48. But what I'm wondering is if we need to put a caveat in here that says, you should probably check with your academic counselor to make sure you're in line for graduation.
Well,
Um,
because it needs to be in the correct parameters. I mean, you can't have 30 weightlifting credits through a homeschooling and think you're gonna graduate because you took like a year of high school. Just worst case scenario. And so I think that would be valuable to add into there, because
Okay.
then it's kind of like a buyer beware. This is what we recommend, however, you need to be checking with your counselor.
Well, okay, cause we have the waiver of requirement will not be waived except as outlined in the early achievement. In hardship circumstances, the principal may recommend, minor deviations from the graduation requirements, which a student may be relieved from completing, or if, so we have all this. Files with school desk, completes the following. Students eligible for flexible schedule here, student who is granted flexible schedule. Okay, so that's all about that. Yeah, and it is a weighted grade point average.
Good.
Mhm.
Yeah, we
Not
had,
weighted would be silly.
yeah, we had a conversation about that.
Yeah, I kinda gave up on arguing for that at last meeting, but,
Which, I get it. Credit towards graduation.
It's always been weighted, hasn't it?
apparently not. What I heard is that it was, considering weighted and unweighted was being used to maximize the number of valedictorians, which,
Because Cass and Tay graduated with weighted.
that's good.
transcripts.
Anything but weighted is silly, frankly,
Yeah.
like,
No,
I've never
especially,
even heard of
yeah.
unweighted, unless you're talking about whether or not you're gonna weight an AP class as 5 or not. I think
Mhm.
that can be a legitimate discussion. But if you're talking about weighting per credit hour,
Yeah.
I don't think there
Across
should
the
be any
board.
discussion, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna delete all this. So we'll be proud of a copy of the current graduation, which these are the graduation requirements. Okay, maybe this one's throwing me off. And then,
Just the breakdown underneath.
yeah. Cause cause this talks about the requirements.
Mhm.
This will just be, the core
Credits.
instruction is 30 credits and includes the following, and then we go straight into that. I don't think it could get any cleaner once all this stuff is gone. If a student, how am I gonna say this? So if a student doesn't think that they have enough credits, they need to weigh in with their academic advisor
Mhm.
for a game plan. So, I could say if a student has not met the 48 credits but has met 46, they will still graduate.
Well, isn't that listed in there as far as, I'm sorry, these
Oh, you're
prescriptions,
fine.
sunglasses are, isn't that listed in there as far as where it states that the principal could then
It is.
make exceptions?
There are exceptions that can be made.
So, do we need to state it again, do you think?
I don't like redundancy,
Mhm.
but, I don't know, we can weigh in on this.
Can we go to the top? Can I just read this through from top to bottom? It's kind of hard to get a feel with it with all the
Line
crossed
outs.
out stuff
Yes, I
and
know.
recent changes.
Let me know when I need to scroll.
All right. All right, good. Scroll. All right, keep scrolling.
And then we talk about.
Interdisciplinary. Such a great buzzword.
That's what my bachelor's is, isn't it? It's interdisciplinary studies.
Nice.
It means I have a lot of credits and a whole bunch of classes.
Right.
I couldn't figure it out. I'm sorry, I was scrolling.
All right, keep going. Keep going. So we changed the 29 core to 30 core,
Mm-hmm.
and we do have the authority to do that.
Right.
But we're just, okay.
We can say whatever we want to say, but we cannot deny graduation if the child meets the 46
Correct.
credit
Gotcha.
requirement.
Understood.
Yeah.
And I think the stating the state requirement and then saying Lakeland has an expectation. I feel like
Mhm.
that's good language. You can get the credit for playing on a sports team. All right, keep, middle school. I don't think I care much about middle school here. Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so. There we go. Okay, so I'm good with it. Is everybody else good with it?
We need a comma after the word students there, since we have the word the has set the standards for students.
Okay.
No, I think it's much cleaner.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright, so we're done. We're done. And we can make that go away. And, alright, so we're skipping 8010, 8110, because we need 8170 and 8170P. We did get, suggestions jumping into 3345. So let's pull that one up. 3345. Now, the law, there is a new law on the books that states,
No restraint.
correct. And it's another 30, do we need to make changes to 3360?
Curious.
So I'm gonna pull up 33-124.
Man, 3360. I like to never have a job where I have to do anything like that.
Okay. So definitions, seclusion. To carry out the laws, manage of classroom behavior. Have the power to adopt any reasonable rule or promotion to manage the behavior in and others govern the classroom, not convincing such a statute or regulation. Restraint or seclusion shall not be used as forms of discipline or methods of classroom governance. Chemical restraints shall not be used for any purpose. Oh, yeah, physical or mechanical restraint or seclusion may be deployed only in circumstances where people's conduct is placed. See, okay. And then danger, okay. So I would assume a mechanical restraint is like referring to handcuffs.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I would agree.
Is that the statute? They have a seclusion and restraint policy that meets the requirements of this section. Well, but we're not supposed to. Okay. Alright, so, in going to our fun policy. Why is that? Did I make that thing go away? I did. Oh no, I didn't. Why is that there? Oh, because I opened
You
it.
can right click and reopen closed tab.
Oh, really?
I think so. Right click on the Chrome tablet there.
The empty one?
No, on
any
an existing one.
Okay. Reload. Okay.
No, go to the 3 dots at the far right underneath the X in the window. Chrome did have a reopen last closed tab.
Oh. Well, maybe it's just a history. I would have
That
to
could
look
be.
at.
Alright, never mind.
Thanks. Because I'm not a Google person. Okay. Oh, that's what he's thinking of. Is it red on there? It's new language. Okay. And blue is LJSD. And black is what we have. Okay, so. So use of restraint, seclusion, and diversion techniques for students. Analyze them as escort. Restraint. Okay. Mechanical restraint. Do we say what a physical escort is? Well, that's stupid.
I think most of those are actually cut and pasted straight out of the state.
Policy. I mean, the statute.
The statute, cause I was just looking and I was like, oh, okay. But. And that physical restraint, the term
Uh-huh.
does not include physical escort, is straight out of
Right.
statute, there's
I
no
did read that.
definition, so.
But what I
I
wanna
feel good
do
about
is physical escort, we kinda need to explain what that is. Oops, make that bigger. Thank you. Guess I should make this smaller.
Statute didn't elaborate on it.
Yes, it did. It's right here. Physical escort means a temporary touching or holding of the hand, wrist, arm, shoulder, or back for the purpose of inducing a student who is acting out to walk to a safe location.
Where does it do that?
It's B.
Strange that
third-
they
Oh,
have
thank you.
to walk to a safe location.
Yeah, cause if we're saying it does not include physical escort,
Mhm.
well, we need to say what is a physical escort.
No, totally. I apologize.
No,
I was down on the next component.
no need for an apology. Okay. They don't even have restraint. Okay, so why did they not include these definitions, all of them? We have physical restraint, they have restraint. That's because ISBA does what they do. Okay, so I think I would feel more better, because more better is a good word. Yeah. Cause this needs to be is. Lots of periods. There we go. Alright. Physical. Alright, so then I think I will do this. Okay, so maybe I don't need to do, maybe I can make that go away. Okay. And we have chemical, right? And we have seclusion. Where did they get this imminent danger?
It's right at the end.
Is it? Okay.
actually thought I did see it, but it's just emergency was the.
I remember the discussion, cause we've looked at this one previously and then it was tabled, correct? Cause we wanted to wait to get the
Probably.
new statute.
Okay.
And I believe that it was the discussion about imminent danger as far as when one would utilize any of those. Oh, it is here, imminent danger on page 2 under 3. The very last part of that.
Restraint and seclusion, is that what this?
Yeah, keep going, it's the last sentence, it says imminent danger, which I think is why that was then defined within our policy.
Well, it just says place themselves in imminent danger, but it doesn't describe what imminent
Exactly.
danger is. Means when death or severe bodily injury could reasonably be expected to occur without intervention. I know we got that from somewhere. Okay, so, conduct of employees. This is the end. The use of any form of restraint or seclusion as defined in this policy by appropriately trained district personnel with a student, any student is prohibited. Okay. Isn't there a time when physical restraint is
Yeah,
appropriate?
don't we need to add as disciplinary action, the use of any form of restraint or seclusion as disciplinary action, or as discipline?
Cause here, any teacher, this is important. They just can't use corporal punishment. So the use of any restraint or seclusion by appropriately trained district personnel with a student, with any student is prohibited. But that's not what this, alright, so that's all the definitions. Seclusion. In the absence of any statute or rule or regulation, the Board of Trustees may, okay. Restraint and seclusion shall not be used as forms of disciplines or methods of classroom governance. Chemical restraints shall not be used for any purpose. Physical or mechanical restraints or seclusions may be deployed only in circumstances of imminent danger. The State Department of Education shall prepare resources, guidance, and training modules to support schools in adhering to the provisions of this section. Let's see what other statute they're identifying on this policy. 39, it's abuse, neglect, and exploitation. 395302. Did I miss something? Chances are yes. 39, 5302, subsection 5. Adult use. Okay, there's no 5. A, B, C, D, I, J, K, L, M, Q, R, S, T, X, Y, Z, A, B, B.
Oh,
This is all definitions.
there's a 2.
2. Nothing in this chapter shall be construed assuming a person is abused, neglected, or exploited for the sole reason he is relying on treatment by spiritual means through prayer alone, in accordance with the tenets and practices of a recognized church. So what they're saying is exorcism not circumcision, exorcism is good. Okay. Well, you know,
Thank
these
you for the
words that are
clarification.
rolling around in my head. Be construed to require any medical care and treatment in contravention. Okay, so this is just about definitions. Okay, so I'm wondering. Duty to report. And this is a vulnerable adult. Why are they referencing this? Inspection right of entry. I wonder if that's it. Some of these things take forever to figure out. If consent of entry is not given, a commission employee or provider with the assistance of a county prosecutor may obtain a search warrant. Okay. And this is respective to a vulnerable adult. While I could state that some teachers are in vulnerable positions, I don't know what they're doing here. Oops. So I don't know what the reference is. This makes no sense to me, because it doesn't seem to align with anything relevant here. But I am wondering, is there 30, 12? Okay. So that's not the one. I mean, that's the one, but not the one. This is free from use. Parents or other adults. But the students can use them. Okay. So I don't know that that statute should even be there. I don't know what it's about. Okay, so going back up to, because that's not what, we have these lovely definitions.
Yeah, I didn't see connection to that one either.
So what this is saying is that we're not going to do any form of restraint or seclusion. However, the statute states that we can.
Well, we're not gonna do it as a disciplinary measure, isn't that
Correct.
the distinction? So if somebody's trying to stab someone else with a pair of scissors, you gotta mechanically restrain them, hopefully.
Well, okay, so the use of any form of restraint or seclusion as defined in this policy by appropriately trained district personnel with any student is prohibited.
So why by appropriately trained? Like,
Because we used to have CPI training, which were holds,
okay,
that would be utilized if a student was physically out of control, but we don't do that anymore.
so don't we need to take that out so it's broader and applies to all district employees?
Yeah, cause I don't know that we do any form of training anymore on,
We don't do holds.
okay, what about restraints?
I've never been trained on restraints. It was always CPI holds, and we would go through CPI training and how to be certified.
Okay.
But I wonder if even non-trained personnel, if there was a fight and somebody was on top of another student, I mean, natural reaction says restraint is to separate those students.
Right.
So, but that's not a trained, restraint, use of restraint. That would just be saving somebody from bodily
But see, a
harm.
physical restraint, it means a personal restriction that
Yeah.
immobilizes or reduces the ability of a student to move his torso, arms, legs, or head freely.
Mm-hmm. So if you're
Well,
physically
pulling
pulling
a
a
kid
child
away.
off, you're restraining
Yeah, you are.
their torso and their upper body.
Uh-huh.
But isn't the purpose of this to talk about disciplinary measures? So like if we say we don't do these things as disciplinary measures, now you're still allowed to pull one kid off the other kid.
Okay. Where did the policy go? Oh, a minute. So this is the conduct of employees directed towards students.
It's defined, like by appropriately trained, that makes it unnecessarily specific, I think that needs to be taken out.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe replace it by, as defined with this policy, with the statement for discipline, or as a disciplinary measure.
Where am I at? I'm in my, okay, the use of any form or restraint of restraint or seclusion as defined in this policy with any student. Where is the student? There it is. As a form of disciplinary action is prohibited.
I like that.
Yep.
And then we need to rework the next one too, cause it talks again about trained and certified.
The employee or any employee. Can we take off the first three words in that paragraph?
Okay. See, witness to this event. Oh, wait. Wait.
To this event, to any such event? No.
Okay, I don't know who struck this part out. Because it actually does need to say that. It's prohibited except in circumstances where proportional restraint or seclusion of a student is necessary when a student's conduct creates a reasonable belief in the perspective of a district employee that the conduct of the student has placed the student employee, okay, that's a lot of words.
Yeah, and if that's there, maybe we don't need as a form of disciplinary action.
Okay.
Could it be that the law prohibits that exception?
Well, it says any teacher.
I don't think it could. I think it would, even if it said that, case law
Okay.
would strike it down.
Possibly. Bottom line, the statute says no corporal punishment.
Right.
That's what it's saying. So corporal punishment will never be used.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, but restraint and seclusion shall not be a form of discipline or method of classroom governance, but then it's stated, where was that statement? I thought it was in here. Oh, it's in
Imminent
three.
danger, right there.
Yeah. So it says physical or mechanical restraint or seclusion. So it's a specific type of restraint. So maybe it needs to say corporal punishment shall not be used ever. Not gonna happen.
Right.
But, and restraint and seclusion shall not be used as discipline or methods of governance. Chemical restraints never used. But physical and mechanical restraint and seclusion may be used in circumstances where the pupil's conduct has placed himself, employees, or any other individual in imminent danger.
Right.
Okay, so,
Because this would also pertain to, like, our armed guards, correct? So
Mhm.
they
Right.
would use mechanical restraints if something was going on, I would think. Worst case scenario.
Since we're gonna define imminent danger, can of seriously bodily harm be crossed out
Where, oh, down here,
at the end of
yeah.
that paragraph? Yeah.
I think the whole, let's see here. District employee. Let's just use any forever. So I think that just needs to be the first sentence. We're not using corporal punishment. Okay.
I like that.
So we're, oopsies, we're acknowledging that, yeah, corporal is never gonna be used. So the use of any form of restraint or seclusion is prohibited except in circumstances where proportional restraint, it doesn't say anything about proportional, does it?
That would be
Yeah,
a
do-
statute.
Yeah, I don't think we need the word proportional.
other students. Let me ask just a question, hypothetical.
I'm listening.
Can a student be placed in a principal's office for suspicion of whatever as they're investigating? Separating two students who might be having illicit things on them, things like that. Is that considered seclusion? If we're separating two students because there's reasonable belief that they have drugs, things like that, on them. And so while an admin is investigating, they separate the two. Is that considered seclusion?
Would that be a disciplinary action?
Well,
That's not a disciplinary action in the sense that
so investigation
it's
wouldn't
an
be considered.
investigative action.
Okay, perfect.
In
That's
my
where,
opinion.
in my mind, I was like, ooh,
Well, but I know that our district safety specialists have their protocols
Mhm.
of how they're supposed to run through everything.
Mhm.
And then I know an SRO would be governed
different.
by the law
Mhm.
before they're governed by our district policies.
Exactly. So that was one thing that popped in for me as I was looking at that.
So seclusion means the involuntary confinement of a student alone in a room or area from which the student is physically prevented from leaving. This term does not include a timeout. That is a behavior management technique that is part of an approved program. Involves the monitored separation of a student in a non-locked setting and is implemented for the purpose of calming. Okay. So in pointing this out,
I would say that if you're secluding a student for a disciplinary action, that would be in a non-locked setting. So it would fall under the law, correct?
Also, if there's somebody in there with the guy, which you'd probably want anyway, then also you'd be
right,
on
'cause-
that.
and I believe like I think John Hatcher has an office that like students go into. It's, you know, glassed so you
Mhm.
can in and out. There's no like environment where you couldn't see what's going on.
Gotcha. And I know admin
But-
offices a lot of times are recorded also.
Okay.
But like I said, I was just spitballing because that was the first scenario that came to my mind of, oh,
Could
which
be an
for
issue.
once it wasn't a special ed situation that came to my mind.
Right. Okay, so. So this is verbatim from statute.
Mhm.
So then I think this whole paragraph should be struck. Okay, any employee who is witness to
This event. What event?
an event. Make it an and. An event shall immediately seek out the assistance of the school's administration or if such a certified employee. On the arrival of the individual. Okay, why? That has to do with the specified training.
Mhm.
Okay, so this whole paragraph needs to be struck. May be terminated when it is determined the student is no longer an imminent danger to him or herself or to any other individual. Fair enough. Regardless of employee training status, adverse techniques with any student. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
situation occurs where a student's conduct has placed himself, employees, or any other individual in imminent danger, as he is next of restraints or seclusions with a student, the following shall occur. Okay. So, all right. Why shall immediately, okay. Date, circumstances, student involved. Any injury sustained and other witnesses shall notify the parent or legal guardian, or of the situation and the event, restraint or seclusion via telephone and shall guardian with a copy of the incident report for seclusion or restraint. Okay. Programs director. Of the event, providing them with a copy of the incident. Okay. Do we still utilize an incident report for seclusion and restraint? Do you know?
I am not the expert on that one.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. Building principals shall ascertain if any of the school's video equipment captured the event on a recording.
Mm-hmm.
If such an event was captured on recording, the principal shall take all best efforts to maintain a copy and provide the video footage to why these people? Why would the superintendent be involved? And why? I don't understand why both of them.
I think that would cover if it was general ed or special education student.
Okay.
If
Well, I
parents
think it.
notified the district, maybe those would be the two that would triage the call first.
Okay.
Well, does that sound about right?
Well, I'm thinking that I know there's special requirements with kiddos that are on 504s and IEPs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably why.
And that all
And
falls
the-
under the federal programs.
Yeah, and the federal program director should know
Mm-hmm.
about that student. Shall ascertain the special needs status of the student involved. Alright, so we struck that out. Okay, the superintendent. So why are we saying the superintendent when the superintendent's not involved? I think it should be the assistant because the superintendent's not involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are involved, but
Should it be and or federal programs director, or should it just say superintendent?
I think
Should we
we should-
mimic what's stated in 4? Since we're saying and there, should we say and or?
we could.
Because if it's a student who's familiar with the federal programs director, that phone call might be received a little better from them.
I get it, yeah.
I'm trying to say that very tactfully.
Shall provide with written notice of the event of restraint or seclusion of their student. Don't we say, okay.
So it was called an incident report prior to that.
Okay, but up here, we're already saying the parent already has been given it.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we doing it down here? I don't think it needs to be there, cause we've already done that.
Beautiful.
The district office shall maintain documentation as to events of restraint, seclusion, and shall prepare any and all necessary reports to legal entities upon whom such reports are or may become due pursuant to state and federal regulations. Okay. The State Department of Education, because we need to reporting requirements for document. Federally as necessary. Okay, so that's okay. We're fine. Training. As part of the training and preparation, billing following shall occur. What does it talk about in here?
So CPI is de-escalation as well as holds.
Okay. But what I heard you say is we're not doing.
We don't do holds. We've been trained CPI as far as
Annually?
de-escalation.
Annually.
Let's see, when do I expire?
That is so sad. CPR and CPI right here.
So no, it's a 2-year. So I took it November 4th, 22. It'll expire November 4th, 24.
Okay.
It was 6.5 hours.
All right. Certified administrator, certified teacher, and in-building classified employee of the district. The following shall occur. Training personnel on de-escalation of student crisis situations, positive behavioral intervention techniques, and supports in the Crisis Prevention Institute program. I don't know if we're still doing that. Annual review. On an annual basis, the superintendent shall review this policy and make a determination as to whether or not any modifications or amendments are necessary should be proposed to the Board of Trustees. In conducting this annual review, all incident report or seclusion reports. Review all incident reports shall be reviewed. The fiscal year review will include an analysis as to events following. All right.
Was that in the first part of that?
Well, it's saying the superintendent's going to review the policy
Mhm.
and see if any modifications need to be made, and then make the proposed modification request
Gotcha.
to the
Then
board.
it's talking about the annual review.
Right.
Okay, perfect.
So the results of the annual review need to come to the board.
Perfect.
So. Alright, so I think that was done. Oh, any other things?
Was this stakeholder feedback?
This was Jacqueline's feedback
Okay.
because she was going to be able to be here tonight. Okay, so caught a few things. Good. What's going to be pulling that up? did it. Every once in a blue it'll pop up. I don't know why, but yay me. Okay. Guidelines for physical restraint and seclusion. That's what policy says that might happen, right?
So do we need a procedure document if we're just not doing it?
Well, physical restraint, mechanical restraint, or seclusion may be used
Right.
during imminent danger. So, what is this? Oh, what is? Oh, all right, guidelines. What is this? Is there something wrong on this one?
Should be ensure, not insure. It's not in there.
Okay, I'm gonna see what our current policy states. Oh. So did ISBA have anything on this? Good heaven, 9 pages? That's too long. Are you able to go into ISBA's? Or locked out?
Let me see if I can find something.
Okay. Because this isn't guidelines. This is
No.
just rhetoric.
Mm-hmm. It's philosophy.
Whatever.
Yeah. Rhetoric with the incorrect form of.
Injure.
Right.
I'm just gonna do this so I know what I've done and why, because that's driving me nuts. School districts supports school-wide programs and services that motivate, teach, and support positive behavior to create a school climate that is highly conducive.
Conducive.
That's A.
They do not have a procedure or a form.
Do we have a form?
We do.
It must be the incident report?
Yes.
Okay. Well, look at us, we're way ahead of the game. So, supports. Says, teaching supports behavior to create a school climate. I hate that word. Each school will establish practices that have a goal of making the school climate and environment welcoming and supportive of learning, promote the recognition and reinforcement. Okay, as expected. Okay. District trained staff members to assessors. Okay. Well, this is bothering me. Okay, first of all, this is irrelevant. Because this has nothing to do with the guidelines for physical restraint. And I don't know. Choose physical restraint and seclusion. We're not allowed to use them in limited situations. We're only allowed to use them in imminent danger. What's this mean? Just curious. Oh, it's not dated.
I was just wondering the same thing.
Love it.
So do
What
you
are-
want to just ignore this and base it on the draft?
Well, what I don't know why. Cause we're not even cross-referencing our Ps, so I don't even know that we need this.
Well, because those definitions are included in the policy, on the draft policy.
Yeah. Although.
It
okay,
does talk
method.
physical restraint there.
Well, so here we're saying physical restraint is not inclusive of breaking
Does
up a
not
fight.
include.
Yeah, but the statute doesn't say anything about that.
No,
No.
it doesn't.
So we can't just like be, well, we're gonna, yeah.
Just
that's-
redefine it ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
And in the course of, it also spoke of the weapons, most likely you're going to limit movement,
Right.
so.
But does our student handbook state this? Okay, so this condition's appropriate for physical restraint. Well, maybe some of this, let's see what we should take out, which is basically the majority.
Is there, did we include somewhat of a procedure in the 4345 non-P?
No, we did not.
Because we had reporting requirements in there now.
We do. But this, Jennifer, would you mind looking up at the student handbook and see if that's in there, this emergency?
Yeah. Wake up.
We'll see, okay, so if I go up here. This,
Michelle, I would love to, but I am dead as a doornail.
oh, no worries.
Yeah.
What?
It likes me that
There,
much.
what am I looking for?
You're looking for,
That's what happens when you work on it during lunch and then you just slide it into the
It
purse.
says all student handbooks in our schools will contain this statement. As part of the emergency procedure in place in our schools, any student who poses an imminent risk of injury to him, herself, or others may be physically restrained and are placed in seclusion by school staff in accordance with school board policies. This could occur along with, so that as part of that whole statement, I wanna see if it's in the if it's in the handbook. So you probably could just do a Control F and then type in as a part of or the emergency procedures.
Restraint as a part
Okay, so as a part of, so it's only going to policy 3345. As soon as possible. Okay, the guidelines. Okay. So it's in there, but I don't know why. Okay.
I mean, that's kind of a procedure there, huh?
This is, so, but I'm just trying, so seclusion,
I think I'm back to thinking we don't need AP.
I don't think we need a P either. What do you
No.
think?
It's all listed in there, the
Right.
procedure, the reporting,
Right.
you know. Would it be prudent to include that part that notates that it's in the student handbook? In the policy, like we did with the other policy earlier, that it is in the student handbook with the graduation requirements? Just on the policy, but not do
Yeah.
another one.
Okay. So where were we?
Cause we even covered on the annual basis.
Right. If we need.
Yeah.
Except, I don't know, if we go up here, I think, what if? I don't know that it needs to.
I just meant that little caveat where it states these guidelines are stated in student handbook and given to parents, so that then it really, it is in the handbook. And so parents are aware of that.
Okay,
That's what I was referring to,
not this big old
not
paragraph.
that big one, yeah.
Okey doke.
Well, I think it's
the
these
guidelines
yeah.
will be available, is what you're, okay.
And they
Well-
are, because they're provided the electronic handbook every year for registration.
Okay, but where are the guidelines?
Didn't we just say that this is in the handbook? Didn't she search and it said as a part of our procedures?
That statement is a part, but that statement isn't anywhere else. So that statement is under,
Okay.
what's it under? It's under restraint,
Gotcha.
policy, and then it references policy, or it links in policy 3345. And it does state, as part of the emergency procedures in place in our schools, any student who poses an imminent risk. So I don't think, because this is these guidelines, well,
Would
we're
be the
getting rid of the
whole-
guidelines.
yeah.
Yeah, because the guidelines are a bit too much.
Convoluted.
Yeah, so, but then again, maybe Lisa and Lynn will be like, no, bring them back, and then they can weigh in on them. Because I don't think we need, this is just too out of line. I mean, some of the statements are accurate, but
Mhm.
I don't know, I don't think it's not right. So let's look at the form. Student name, date. Okay. I don't see anything wrong with the form. Okay.
What is it? Could you just scroll down to the bottom really quick, Michelle, please, and thank you. Okay, so it does ask for parent contact.
Yeah.
That was so quick, I couldn't tell if it was parent signature or contact. It was
Yeah.
just like, blah.
Right. So I think we need to have on here. What is it called? Incident report for seclusion or restraint. Is it? No. Let's see. All right. So. Oh, yeah, it's not gonna make me change it. Okay. Yeah, can't stand it when that doesn't manage. So for me, I'm good. How about you people?
Yep. I'm
Okay.
good.
So if we take down 3345P, that doesn't go out for public comment, does it? I don't think
We
it
just
would
eliminate it?
need to. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Because if we send it out and say, hey, we wanna take this down, parents are like, oh no, you have to leave it up, but it's not even in compliance with anything.
Mhm.
Right.
So, okay. Alright, so, important statutes. What is this one?
That's just the new law that you were looking at before.
Is it in effect though? I mean, was it in the statute? Yep. Yeah,
It
because
looks
that's all
like,
new
yeah.
language. Underlined is new language. Yay. Okay. Okay, we're good. Let's go to draft policy 3500. Students' health. Okay. So this is the draft. Okay. The school board. Okay, the board has to proceed to health and physical screenings is examinations for the GG for health services. Okay, so that's an ISBA recommendation on the color. Such services
Thank you.
may include but are not limited to the development of procedures at each building for the isolation and temporary care of students who become ill during the school day. The consulting services of a qualified specialist for staff and students and parents, vision and hearing screening, scoliosis screening, and immunizations as provided by the Department of Health and Human Services. Okay, I also think at the high school level, we provide sports trainings or
And
sports.
impact testing.
Yeah, but I need confirmation.
Definitely impact testing. It
Yeah, 'cause our
caught my
trainers
nephew by
provide
surprise
those.
a few
Oh.
weeks ago.
Yeah. They're pretty innocuous, but yeah, it is something. So could you just explain to me the colors again? The red is,
Well, this is this peachy burgundy, whatever we're
Mhm.
calling it, that's not red.
okay.
Is from ISBA.
Okay, so
April
that's their
Boyd.
recommendation?
That's, yeah, they're
Okay.
recommending adding that in there.
And then blue is?
Is new language, or no, that's ISBA's language.
Okay,
Black is our language.
gotcha.
And red is
New language, ISBA language, existing language, talking points. He never answers when I call. You can't have a life. I'm calling you. I'm a policy. else did we say that we have?
Impact testing. Sports physicals, I think, are not on campus though, unless they've arranged like with Lakeland Immediate to be housing them off campus possibly. But I know our impact test, our trainers do those on campus, cause I had a couple of kiddos that had to get that done last week.
Okay, well, I think I'm going to,
And the nice thing is it says, but are not limited to.
right,
It also may include, so it's pretty flexible.
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna highlight this so we can get clarification.
Yeah.
Cause if we don't, and it is, we're just, but, cause I just, and this was a while ago, but I remember when my kids were in school, we always got notice that at the school you could go get your sports physical on this date.
Gotcha.
So, but I don't
So
know
they
if they're still
might do
doing
that,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
I can probably ask,
There
my
was a
sister-in-law.
notice saying that they were doing that, but I'm not sure if it was at the doctor's office or on school
And that's what I was
But-
trying to remember.
We're providing, we have someone come on campus for immunizations?
Yeah, I actually had a question about that. Do we
I've
do
never
that? I don't
heard
think
of
so.
that.
Yeah, I haven't either.
For staff. Cause like I know Medicine Man comes up and does like flu shots and things like that for staff, but not for students.
Oh. My favorite. Guess we do. Okay. The development of procedures at each building for isolation. Okay, but how is student health physical screening examinations? What does this have to do with, oh, well, okay, I guess if they're sick. Consulting services for qualified specialists.
Do we do that?
Which could be behaviorists.
So like speech therapy and those specialty services that come in, but that, I guess that's health, I don't know.
Well, and sometimes we partner, like with our OTs, I know it's been really hard for us to get it, so we partner with Kootenai and things like that, so I wonder if this covers us that way?
Mm.
Also, the headline makes it so that even if we're wrong here, it's not the end of the world.
Well, I don't know why we don't identify speech therapy and occupational therapy, cause I think we should just do it.
Occupational therapy for students?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
And we do vision and hearing screening.
Yeah, apparently, yes.
Lions, yeah, Lions comes in and does that. Do we need to put down behavior intervention? Or behavior therapy?
But is that an outside service that comes in?
I know again,
I know
sometimes
we hire them,
Yeah.
but this is
Do
saying.
they consult at all? If we don't have those bodies on our staff, would we then have a partnership to consult again? Like the speech and language and OT and OPT? I just wonder if we're listing them all,
Right.
cause then we'll need physical therapy too. Cause I know that's contracted at points through Kootenai.
In our elementary and middle school?
I remember when we had someone through Kootenai at Garwood, but that was years ago, maybe not anymore. Because we didn't have any
When are we teaching our
licensed
kids?
PT.
Just curious.
Well, and it was an IEP,
Okay,
requirement.
so it was a requirement.
It was a requirement, and we did not have, from what I'm remembering, a licensed physical therapist, so we had physical therapy assistants,
Okay.
but they can't write the care plans. And so that was contracted with Kootenai, I believe.
But I think with what you're talking about,
Mhm.
if it's something that's required within an IEP that we are
Mhm.
mandated to provide, we are providing it specific and solely for that student.
Correct.
Not as an all-inclusive, hey, everybody jump on board. The speech therapy, well then again,
Would be specific.
that would be specific as well. As would
All
occupational.
the therapies are specific.
That's right.
That's why if we were gonna list one, we'd need to list all of them, I
Right.
think.
So I don't know that we need to list them.
And I like that it does say may include but are not limited to. I think
Right.
that really,
Gives us a lot of space.
yeah. But if we're gonna start listing them, then we need to list everything,
I would
which
agree with
makes
you
me
on that.
nervous.
Yeah, because if you miss one, then, you know. But.
Or you also face the possibility of really scaring parents
Right.
and overwhelming people. That offer services on school property or as a part of a school program. So here's, and this is just devil's advocate. We have orthodontists that come up in their vans and do checks in the parking lot for students that are their patients.
Right. Isn't that just one though? Jaeger?
It's Jaeger, but if we're saying services
Right.
on school property,
Right.
it's not a part of a school program, but it is health services. So are we obligated to inform of that? If we're saying we're gonna inform people of these services with private organizations
Okay.
partnering?
Well, see, here's my struggle with all of this.
Mhm.
Because to me, if something's being offered, it has to be offered to everyone. But we don't do that. I know impact testing, sports physicals, mental health services, well, no, not that, but scoliosis screening, vision and hearing,
vision.
that all goes
Mhm.
out, like we're doing this class is going at this
Yeah.
time, so that's that. But like Jaeger, when he comes up here, he's coming specific for his
For specified students.
I mean, yeah,
And
for
it's an
his
appointment.
clients.
Mhm. Sorry, yes,
No.
clients.
So, yeah. So that's not something that he's partnered with the district.
And like I
I've
said,
never seen an MOU on it.
Devil's
so-
advocate,
No, I hear
because
you.
it is on school property.
Right, which there should be some form of an MOU in the sense that, you know, he's going to be, but he's not even on school grounds though. Cause he comes and he goes in front of McDonald's, so he's not on school property.
How about up north?
Yeah.
He's not on school property though. I don't know about up north, I don't know where he goes. Which I don't mind that
Yeah.
he does it, but it
Yeah.
isn't a contract with the school district.
No worries. Like I said,
But
just
it's a
the
good
devil's
point to bring
advocate
up, yeah.
component there. Strange thoughts hit my brain sometimes, and it's like, oh,
Well,
TMI.
No, and the
Proper
Overload.
The reality is, I know that the board has been sheltered from actually understanding everything that's going on within this district.
Mhm.
And then things pop up and we're like, what? We didn't know. So
Yeah.
if our policies are very clear, then we shouldn't have these aha moments like,
Mhm.
what are you talking about? So,
And I have to say, I think what he does is a huge service,
Oh,
especially
huge.
for our
Right.
students who really and truly, especially with the absenteeism and
right.
socioeconomic levels, if he can provide it there. it's
Well, yeah, he
amazing.
brings his own
Yeah.
facility and he's not on school property. So if he is up north, I don't know, but I wouldn't imagine that he is if he's not here,
Mhm.
because there would be no reason why he couldn't just pull his little rig and wherever, but,
Mhm.
it's not little, but you get my point?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
And thank
So-
you for hearing me out.
Oh, no, I appreciate it, because I don't know all the services
Mm.
we offer. I didn't even know we were still doing scoliosis screening,
Oh, yeah.
because it seems to have gone by the wayside, but
But they do still do it, huh?
Mhm.
For all
apparently,
students, huh?
apparently.
During all
I
grades
know.
or just young?
We do it at the middle school.
Okay.
I'm not sure if elementary does. I'm not sure what grade level it is.
Okay.
Now that we have sixth grade, it might be sixth grade.
Okay, what about the vision and hearing?
That's usually Lions Club at early elementary.
Okay,
When they come in their little van and the nurses
what about
oversee.
dental health? Cause I know the dentist comes in and they do a big thing and the kids get their stuff, but I don't know if they
that
do
they're
any screenings.
providing screening though.
I don't know either. Okay, let's move on.
I think, yeah, that would, yeah. That's questions for
Yeah.
somebody higher than me.
I don't know. Parents, guardians will receive a written notice of any screening result which indicates a condition that might interfere or tend to interfere with the student's progress. Well, shouldn't they just get the results regardless? Additionally, if a member of the district staff becomes aware of a change in the student's mental, emotional, or physical health or well-being, the staff member shall address the matter. What is that policy, 2425? Here's our policies. This is used, so let's go to. Here we are, we're down here. Parental rights. Parental right to know notices. Can you look on their website and see what their 2425 is?
Mm-hmm.
2015, this probably needs to be updated immediately.
We also do drug testing.
2425 is parental rights.
Okay.
It's like random drug testing?
For athletes.
Okay.
But again, these things
It's
just
only
talk.
athletes, yeah.
It's not really a service, so.
But this doesn't. Okay, so I'm wondering. Well, this is the staff member needs to consult with the parent. Cause that is in law. But I don't know what they're trying to say here with respect to this being health, physical screenings and examinations.
Yeah, it seems like a parent is probably gonna wanna know more than just screening that may indicate a condition that might interfere or tend to interfere with the student's progress. There's plenty of conditions that may not interfere, like scoliosis often wouldn't interfere with the student's progress, with
Right.
their academic progress. I think maybe change it to medically significant or something like that.
Well, parents should just receive a written notice of any screening results.
Yeah, that's true.
Bottom line.
Yeah,
Whether
that's
it interferes or not is
Right.
not for someone else to decide.
agree.
Shall.
Yep.
Okay. Great minds.
Period. So you were saying the drug testing.
But then I was rereading, and it's such services may include. And even if we're putting the sports physicals and the impact testing, we are contracted through, isn't it an MOU for them to come in and do random drug testing for
It is
athletes?
now.
Yeah.
Didn't used to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Before
I
Tech
was
knew
just
that was
thinking if
going
we're
on.
doing, if we're listing impact testing and sports physicals, then should the drug testing be on there? And then again, like I was saying, if we do drug testing, do we have to say nicotine testing, or is that just included under drug testing? Just wrapped up in one ball of wax?
However, the drug testing services are not provided for, they're only targeted at students in extracurricular activities,
Mhm.
be it sports, drama,
Yep.
band, you know.
Yeah, it's not a health service or something.
It isn't. So, and it's a requirement to participate in them if you choose to be part of the extracurricular activity.
Mhm.
You and family know your name could be drawn.
Mhm.
And is there a form for athletes that acknowledges I will get randomly drug tested? Okay.
Mhm.
'Cause I
There
feel-
is.
It's the
okay.
procedure.
So I don't think we need to list that here. But the sports physicals are something that we may be providing. Parents don't have to opt in or opt out.
Mhm.
We're just letting you know, hey, the service is here.
Yeah.
If you wanna come do it.
No, it's optional. It's not something that athletes have to do.
Correct.
And it looks like both my nephews did it, so it's
Oh,
definitely happening.
there we go.
They do have to do it, but not on campus.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to get the
It's- yeah.
physical, but we offer it because some parents can't get their kids in.
Gotcha.
So it's just kind of a,
So you
or
don't
at
have to do
least
it.
we used to
Yeah.
offer it. I don't know if we still do. So yeah, we'll just get that clarified. In general, the district will not conduct a physical examination of a student. Well, I would hope not, without parental consent to do so or by court order unless the health or safety of the student or others is in question.
I feel like that's too broad an exception. Is in question.
By
Everyone's
whom?
health is like always in question.
Yeah, further parents will be notified of the specific or approximate dates during the school year when any non-emergency invasive physical examination or screening administered by the district is conducted, which is required as a condition of attendance, administered by the school and scheduled by the school in advance, and not necessary to protect the eminent health and safety. What are we doing?
Yeah, that exception is like a gaping hole.
Do you know what we're doing?
I could see a physical examination, like if a student passes out and a nurse does an assessment, like
Okay.
are they in sudden cardiac arrest, what's going
Right,
on, just a
right.
triaging.
Okay.
Or like sudden cardiac arrest out on the football field, things like that. If a student
Okay.
goes down, that to me would be a physical examination.
Right. So this would be
Um,
like a case of imminent danger.
And
so
it
that's the
talks
healthier.
about emergency situations, doesn't it?
Well, it says, further parents will be notified of the specific or approximate dates during the school year when any non-emergency invasive physical examination or screening administered by the district is conducted.
So isn't scoliosis kind of invasive? I mean,
I have no idea.
you.
It is.
Just take your shirt off.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, as a middle school girl, I think of that as invasive, just saying.
Okay, so.
But we do provide.
This is talking about what we're
Yeah.
listing up here.
Exactly.
Okay. All
Is
right.
how I'm reading it.
Okay. Well, All I know is some of these words are scaring me.
Yeah.
Right.
The district will.
Shall.
Yeah. Oopsies.
Oh. Pesky caps lock.
Shall not conduct a physical examination of a student without parent consent. Why would we have a court order?
Could there be?
Would that be in foster care kids?
Could that be an abuse situation?
Okay.
Could be.
And again, I don't know, this is just those thoughts in my brain of situations where that could occur.
And again, unless the health or safety of the student or others is in question.
Should be like
By whom?
there's an emergency or something.
Mm-hmm.
But what would constitute an emergency? Well,
Like she was saying, if somebody passed out.
The
or,
district shall not conduct, I would almost say, somehow include a non-emergency physical exam. Because I think all those situations that would push the buttons, whether it's a diabetic that's hit the ground, or you know, you're looking then, or you're doing concussion protocols, you're checking to see if they're, you know, how they're doing. Out on the football field, somebody goes down, or on the soccer field, what's going on with them? Those are all emergency physical examinations. And physical examination doesn't necessarily mean, you know, like it's a doctor's physical.
okay.
It's just how I'm reading it as a parent who's kind of seen those situations. But I could see how for like elementary parents, that could be very scary. So if there's any way we could say non-emergency in front of there, I think that might add some clarity.
And then we can just eliminate the exception.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, so further,
The district shall not conduct a non-emergency invasive physical examination or screening of the student without parental consent.
And
Could we just end it there, because if it's a
Right.
court order,
okay,
that would be considered an emergency, right? I mean, we have to
okay,
comply, correct?
I think we take out everything.
After
Including the word
consent,
yes.
right?
wait, what?
Yes, everything up. No, after court order, I think. So.
Or by court order, yeah.
Right, after
Perfect.
the order, yeah.
Okay. Parents or
Good
eligible
collaboration.
students will be given the opportunity to opt out of the above described non-emergency invasive physical examination or screening.
And they do, yeah.
Just 'cause.
Shall.
As used in this policy, the term invasive physical examination means any medical examination involving the exposure of private body parts or any act during such examination that includes incision, insertion, or injection into the body, but this does not include a hearing, vision, or scoliosis screening. Okay,
So if somebody needs an emergency tracheotomy, that's an incision.
mhm.
Or an epinephrine, that would be injection.
I think go here. Actually, we could just do this.
Even better. why would there be an exception?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Students who wish to participate in certain extracurricular may require to submit to a physical examination to verify their ability to participate in the activities. Students participating in activities covered by the required to follow the rules of that organization as well as other applicable district policies, rules, and regulations.
So that covers the drug testing.
Right. Oh, what question was I gonna ask Jimmy? Oh,
Let's call him back.
hello. I am well, how are you? Good. Oh, I apologize. Well, we're in policy committee, and does the school district still provide sports physicals on campus for kids if they want them? We do not. Uh-huh. Okay, so we don't do that.
What was your
Okay.
role in the district again?
But,
I'm a special ed teacher.
Okay.
okay, but we still
Timberlake
do
High School.
impact
Okay.
testing on
But I've been
campus?
at Garwood and
Gotcha.
the
Okay,
Timberlake Middle
perfect,
School.
that's all I needed to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
My
Good
two
to hear
nephews
from
will
you.
be
Bye-bye.
at Timberlake High School. Or no, one of my nephews will be at Timberlake High School.
Okey doke.
This coming year.
Fun.
So
Yeah.
No.
First soccer game we actually got to
Oh,
play together.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, this is what I'm curious about, cause we no longer bring them over to the school.
Okay.
However, we do send them to their office and it's free. I did not know that. So, that's kinda cool to know. I guess we don't need to put that in policy. Students who wish to participate, okay. High school will be required to follow.
Oh, parents.
The organization and other applicable district policies, rules, and regulations.
Which they have to do when they go to register 'em for sports.
Okay. All staff are prohibited from providing the following services to any person during working hours or in the course of their work. Providing or performing an abortion, counseling in favor of abortion, referring for abortion, or dispensing emergency contraception, except in the case of rape. But
Oh, wow.
our school nurse doesn't have that, do they?
I don't think so, but I'm not the authority on that one by any means. Again, I wouldn't think so, but because we can't even give aspirin without parental consent. That's prescription, and so it has to be on the med form that has parent's signature and a physician's signature, and the meds have to come from parents. So I would think that with that being our medical policy, 5 would not, or 4
Would not be.
would not be
permitted anyway.
reflective of our district. And blue was ISBA again? Gotcha.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with 4.
I really don't, because, yeah.
I think it's a can of worms.
Yeah. Yeah, do we need to take out during working hours? I don't know. I was recommending that you eliminate some of that language, but it's even better that you eliminate it more.
And then should we change person to student? Just so it's more
Okay. I
think that's
reflective
good,
of the
yeah.
audience?
Yeah.
Employees are prohibited from providing the following services to any student. Colon.
And that's the end of the policy
Yep.
and the meeting.
Ta-da! Yes.
Before
Yes,
we
8 o'clock.
end the meeting, can I just ask a question
No.
on what I would like to be done with this? Are we sending these out for stakeholder input? What's the plan?
I would recommend that, Lynn and Lisa review the
Okay.
suggested changes, modifications to make sure they don't see anything wrong with
Okay.
what we've come up with. And then, if they're okay, then yes, those would be sent out.
And then send out, okay.
Yep. So yay, we will go ahead and stop